Okay. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. If I'm not able to see the screen, just let me know.
Ma'am, your voice is glitching.
Unit 8, maybe it is it okay now? Even I will mute my video also. We'll see.
Okay, ma'am.
Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am, it's okay.
Yes? Okay. We'll continue our unit 8, and I think you will have unit 9 where we will discuss about the typology of journalism. So the concept of journalism, as you already know, what is mass communication. So here, mass communication is nothing but where you are dispersing the information or disseminating the information for the larger audience that we have discussed in the previous class. So here, journalism is nothing but where you are disseminating the information for the larger audience using various means of communication channels. So why we need journalism? So as human beings, we do have a curiosity to know what is happening throughout the globe. So how we come to know about the issues which are maybe happening throughout the globe only as we have the source like various media institutions which are providing a lot of information about all those events which are happening throughout the globe. So here, journalism is a profession that will be disseminating the information for the benefit of the public. It also acts as a mediator between the source and the receiver, and it is also acting as a watchdog of the society. It is also exposing the corruption which is happening in the globe or maybe in the various institutions. It also disseminates information regarding the scams. It also acts as a watchdog where it looks after what is happening in the government or the political parties who are the one who are heading those institutions and how far those institutions are functioning, how much amount of the government budgets are spent on so and so schemes or maybe the functioning of the government, etc. And all that information is provided with the help of these media institutions. So here, where the people need any information, like we do have the fundamental right to information, and also the right to freedom of speech and expression. So as we have right to know what is happening throughout the globe, where the journalism profession comes in and it provides the information which we need uh, in our day-to-day life. And a lot of information which is provided by the mass media institutions also have impact on the audiences as we come to know the various issues which are happening throughout the globe, or issues or what we call the events which are happening, and anything which is unfolding that we call it as a news, or the events which are happening throughout the globe that we consider as the news. But again, if you see the news, in reporting classes, people might teach you what constitutes the news or what are the ways how we can look into the news, like proximity, prominence.
Ma'am?
Yes. Okay. So here, mass communication is where we have different media institutions, media channels, which are providing us the information. So here, journalism is an art and a profession where it records the events and opinions, and it also interprets and molds them for the benefit of the public. As just now I said, there are various issues which are happening throughout the globe But here the media is the institution, or the journalism is a profession that is interpreting the news or the events which are happening throughout the globe, and it also interprets the news. Like media is something which sets an agenda for the public. So here media selects the news for the benefit of the public, it interprets the news, and it also evaluates the news, which means it also puts an emphasis how much importance has to be given to a particular story that is needed for the public. So here, this journalism profession is something which records the events which are happening throughout the globe for the benefit of the public. So a lot of information may be happening, or a lot of events might be happening throughout the globe, but due to the time constraints in the broadcast media and due to the space which is available in the print media, a lot of information is also being rejected by the media institutions, where the people who filter this information before that is disseminated for the larger audience, that we call it as a gatekeeping function. Okay. So here, a lot of information again might be rejected, and whatever we see in the newspapers and whatever we might be able to watch in the in the the broadcast media channels, it can be a radio or it can be a television, all that information is something based on the agenda which is provided by the media institutions. So they select the news for the benefit of the public. They also interpret the news. They also evaluates or puts emphasis. For example, if you see the front page articles in the newspaper, which we consider as the most important news of the day. But again, depends on the individuals, what they consume, whether it is relevant for them or not, that we call it as a public agenda. We decide what we want to know, or what we want to read in the newspapers, what we want to watch in the television, what we want to listen to in the radio stations. So this journalism, the word journalism is derived from the journal, which means a daily register or a diary that book. It is a book containing each day's business or transactions. So the journalism, the word is derived from another word called journal. So here, the people who work in the media institutions, we call them as the journalists. So those who gather the information, those who are involved in selection and processing of the news and current affairs for the press, radio, film, television, cable, and also the internet, they are called as the journalists. But apart from the journalists, we also do have some of the technical persons, those who are involved in HR department, and those who are owning the media institutions. They are not journalists, but those journalists are the one who just gather the information from the field. For example, the reporters, those who are selecting the news, like the editor, the reporters, and others, those who are involved in the selection process of the news that they want to disseminate for the public. And processing happens from the beginning. The reporter gathers the information till it is printed in the newspapers. So there are many people who work in this transmission of information or printing of the newspapers. So the editors, who is responsible for whatever is printed in the newspaper and what is covered in the broadcast media, the correspondents who are deployed at various places, maybe the foreign correspondents, or people who are maybe deployed at Delhi or in various states. All those are called correspondents. They cover a specific area, maybe a district, maybe a state, maybe a nation, etc. And there are assistant editors who assist the editors in selecting the news for the dissemination, and reporters who cover the actual beats. So beat is a particular area that is assigned to a particular reporter to be covered. So for example, a campus beat, Ambedkar University, It we consider as a beat. So anything happens in your university, that we call it as a beat, and that is going to be covered by a particular journalist. So here again, the sub-editors who work in the desk, they look after the proofreading and checking of the information, whether there are any corrections, whether there are any mistakes, etc. And they also fine-tune the copy that they receive from the reporters, or we also get the copies from the news agencies, like that we call it as a agency copy, and we also get a copy from the districts, that we call it as official copy. So here, the general desk where the sub-editors work, they get all those copies. Bureau copy is a copy that is provided by our own reporter who is being paid by the particular media institution. So all those copies, when they receive at the general desk, they look after those copies. They check the proofreading and the grammatical errors which are there, are any errors in the copy. They cross check, verify the figures. For example, if disaster happens, they cross verify how many number of people are died. Even though the reporter files a copy, till it goes for printing, there may be updates. So the updates also will be taken care of by the reporter and the sub-editors who are sitting in the desk. If the reporter gets that updated information, he has to inform the sub-editors to check the copy and update the information. So cartoonists, to break the monotony of printing the news, etc., we also use cartoons which provide some kind of entertainment for the public, and it is most of the time based on the current issues which are happening in the society. It is more or less looks like a satire. And photographers who exclusively click pictures for the concerned news organization. But here we may also hire, if the photographer is not able to reach the particular spot, we either get the copies or the photographs from the agency. Either way, we also can take the photographs about the event which has happened, that is covered by paying some money to a photographer who click the pictures. So here, if it is electronic media, we have the camera crew, audio and video editors, news readers, news producers, and the directors, managing editors. All of them are called as your journalists. And strangers are the part-time journalists who work or contribute for the news organizations, but they would not be called as a like they get salaries from the organization. But here they only be paid based on the number of words which are printed in the newspapers and based on the content or that is transmitted for the broadcast media. So all these people who are involved in the gathering, selection, and processing of news, all of them are called as the journalists. So if you see the definition of journalism, journalism means writing for the newspapers and magazines. It also includes writing for the broadcast media, like where we do have a package of news. There are two kinds of programs which you may see in the newspaper, in your broadcast media, like live programs or offline based programs. Live is generally from a particular place that is covered by a journalist with the help of the camera person. He will be giving a P2C by standing. He will be reporting from the spot where the event occurs or happening. And at the end, that is being transmitted for the audience. And sometimes we do have magazine programs. We also have the panel discussions and other things. Sometimes the panel, most of the time, the panel discussions are live. So here, journalism is nothing but writing for the newspapers, magazines, and also broadcast media, that includes television and also your newspapers. According to your Webster Third International Dictionary, journalism means the collection and editing of material of current interest for presentation, publication, or broadcast. Okay, so here as we have a desire to know what is happening throughout the globe, what is new, etc. This desire or a curiosity is satisfied by the profession called journalism and the people who are involved in this journalism profession called journalists. So they provide us the information which we needed and what we think it is important for our day-to-day life. So here, journalism is nothing but communication of information regarding various events which are happening with the help of the words that includes the newspapers and magazines. Sounds means again it connotes to the radio with the help of these sounds or sound waves which we use to communicate for the listeners, and also it includes the audiovisual mediums like sound or pictures. So the sound and audiovisual medium, along with that, we can use, we may write or disseminate the information regarding the events through the newspapers, magazines, or radio or television stations. So here, generally, the journalists are the people who exclusively write for the newspapers, magazines, and also they are the one who are involved in covering the issues for the broadcast media from the beginning to the screen. So from the spot to the screen, whoever are involved in producing these programs, etc., they are called as the journalists who are working for the broadcast media institutions. So here, journalism is basically communication of news. Just now I said, what is happening throughout the globe. News is also can be explained as north, east, west, and south. So what is happening throughout all parts of the globe, that is being disseminated for the audience. So journalism, where it also communicates not only the news, but also it provides feature stories which will provide some kind of entertainment for the readers. If it is broadcast media, all kinds of music, serials, drama, reality shows, game shows, a lot of content, even the documentaries would provide a lot of entertainment for the audience. So here, earlier the newspaper would not be like the number of pages what we can see now, but they used to have only a single news sheet in the beginning of the newspapers, etc. But later on, the number of pages has increased. But the journalism, where we have something, the important element which is timeliness. So a news which is having a news value called timeliness. So unless we present the information for the public on time to time basis, it would not have any value for the viewers or the readers. So anything which is new, which is updated, or any information that is as if it happening somewhere, that is exclusively covered for the broadcast media. And if it is a newspaper, whatever happens today till 2 o'clock midnight, when till the paper comes out, the production process begins. Till that time, whatever happens, everything is presented in the newspaper. So the news has a timeliness, but if you see the feature articles, etc., that might not have a element called timeliness, where the features can be presented at any point of time. So here we have two kinds of news that is presented for the readers, viewers, and the listeners. One is soft news and the other one is hard news. So soft news, where you can hold the information before it can be disseminated for the public. So it is not so considered as an important information. Because of that, we can also print that information in the newspapers later on. But the news, the hard news, what we consider that cannot be quoted, or it has to be disseminated as soon as possible. If it is a newspaper, the day itself it has to be covered for the public so that they will read the newspaper in the next day morning. So if it is broadcast media, it is covered in live most of the time. But before they reach the spot exclusively, if a bomb blast happens at a particular place, if the journalist has to reach the spot with along with the camera person, it might take time. But they exclusively, if they have a person who is hired, they will provide the pictures, and the news anchor keep on telling about the story. So here the news has an important element called timeliness. When you see the functions of journalism, and one more important aspect of the hard news and soft news is the soft news, what it includes the feature articles, etc. That might have a entertainment element, but hard news will not have any kind of entertainment element in it. And hard news has to be presented the way whatever it happens as it is. Like we have to maintain balance, objectivity, and fairness while we present the story. But if it is a feature article, you can include emotionally some of the information, and you can present the story very leisurely, how people can read very story, and also provides entertainment for the public. They will, when you read the feature story, you will get information. Along with that, it also entertains the public. But the hard news is something which might not provide you the entertainment, but it is providing information about the event, how it happens, or what happens in the story with the help of the profession called journalism. So when you see this functions of journalism, first one is information function. So whatever is happening throughout the globe, it can be including the weather, accident, business, regarding the labor, education, regarding the crimes, or regarding the government, or regarding the politics, politicians, or regarding anything which is happening. It can be a crime, abduction, human trafficking, whatever it could be. So everything is provided with the help of the journalism. So journalism is nothing but it provides a lot of information for the public. And interpretation of news. When you read a news which is presented in the newspaper, the newspaper also provides the background information. It interprets the information for the public. It will provide you the historical context of the particular story that is being presented for the readers, and it also give you the various viewpoints of a particular news story, and it interprets the news for the public, so that the viewer or the reader will get to know all sides of the particular issue that is being discussed in the newspapers, or it can be in the broadcast media. So if it is a in newspaper, the news articles, op-ed articles, editorials, and special columns, all that will provide you a overview of the particular instances or the events which are covered by the newspaper. But if it is a broadcast media, generally the news magazine programs, if you see, it will have the information, what happening in the story, the updated information they provide, the background story they provide, and a package of information it will provide with the help of the magazine stories. And it also includes the panel discussions, where during the prime time or early in the morning we will watch various discussions where a particular issue is being discussed by various subject experts in the panel discussions. And people, when they watch those kind of programs, they come to know various viewpoints of a particular subject that is being discussed in the news channels. And entertainment, it is also one of the function. Like we might be bored with day-to-day activities, day-to-day problems, and most of the time, to get some kind of entertainment, we depend on the media institutions. It can be a television, it can be a radio, it can be news portals, or it can be web, or whatever it may be, where the information is disseminated. And we exclusively depending on these media institutions or journalism profession to get entertainment. So media is used also as an tool where we may enjoy with sitting with our friends, watching a movie. We can also socialize with others. And sometimes we also may not feel lonely when you are watching a television program. Although you might be sitting at your home alone, and but if you are watching a television show which is being presented by the television, you might not feel lonely, but you are going away with the characters or the story narration. You feel yourself as you are acting in the film, and you also uh, pay a lot of attention, and emotionally you also carry on with the characters which are presented through the television screen. And advertising, a lot of information is disseminated in the form of advertisements. For example, if the public service messages which may benefit the public. Like it can be a public service ads regarding wearing a helmet, maybe going for family planning, or maybe it is maybe changing the perceptions of people regarding the women, regarding the children, or maybe it is regarding people, maybe the social issues, like all that information is displayed. Along with that, the television commercials, radio commercials, and the news classifieds, or maybe any kind of ads that would provide the information regarding the various products and services that are offered by different companies or different organizations. So the media institutions are acting as the bridge between the manufacturer and the consumer. It also will persuade the audience, and it will also create the awareness among the audience regarding these kind of products and services offered by different companies. And education is also one of the important aspect that is covered by the profession called journalism. So media is providing exclusively the information which is needed for the what you call this student communities, and those who are just want to enter into the profession. What is the profession where they can get jobs if they maybe they choose different kinds of courses, what kind of job opportunities they will get. They also provide you the information about the model papers, the question papers, or they will also give you the in-depth information regarding a particular subject, etc. So all that is provided with the help of the newspapers and broadcast media like television and other radio also. If you see the TSAT recently, that the during the COVID time, Telangana government launched for the providing exclusively the educational content for the students and the college going communities. And news function, just now in the information function we have said that news is provided by the journalism, and whatever is happening throughout the globe, that as the readers, as the viewers, or as the listeners, we come to know about these happenings, and it might have some kind of impact on us. For example, if we see the surveillance function of media, it is alerting the people about the expected dangers in the society, or maybe it is providing information regarding the minor inconveniences which may affect us. For example, there is a birds strike on a particular day. That the information, if we get from the media, we keep ourselves look after the alternative arrangements to reach our destinations, etc. So it can be regarding the politics, how it affects, or maybe the policy making of the government regarding various issues, or maybe foreign affairs, how it affects our country, weather forecasts regarding the floods and other issues, accidents, like crime news. It is again business, how it would affect the human life. Maybe again, it is again regarding the education also. So anything which is happening throughout the globe, it might have some kind of news value, and it would exclusively anyway it will affect the human beings. So as maybe the students, you might want to know what are the job opportunities you get, but as the maybe homemakers, they want to come to know about the cooking shows, or maybe they want to learn some kind of what you call there's other things they want to do, that all that information is something which is disseminated by the journalism. And guidance media also provides guidance for the public. It might change the people's perceptions regarding the various issues, and it also may change the perceptions of people regarding women or children. It provides guidance for the people. For example, students want to know enter into a profession after completing their studies. Media would guide them to which profession they may can enter, and what are the job opportunities they get, how much salary they get if they enter the profession, what would be the growth, etc. So all that is something which the media is giving you, that is guidance. It would change the perceptions of people regarding various issues. It will provide you the guidance which you needed. And the role of journalism, nature and scope of journalism. So role of journalism, just now we have discussed information function, education function, how it helps us. So media is something which is playing an important role in our day-to-day life. It is providing us, keeping us informed of the changing events or the events which are happening throughout the globe, and the issues which may affect our life, and the characters in the world outside. So it is regarding the people who are residing throughout the globe, their customs, their traditions, all that information which we come to know only because we have this media institutions throughout the globe. And even the information which is interesting, and even that is also provides us a lot of entertainment. And here it also like information, we considered it as information is considered as a well. So a well-informed persons may be considered as a good citizen. He can choose better options, or he may it also helps them in decision making, etc. So here the purpose of journalism is to provide the citizens with the right kind of information which they needed, and it also might affect their lives and the society in large. So, like the nature of communication, as we do have a curiosity to know what is going on in the world or around us. So here, the journalism profession is something which satisfies our curiosity to know what is happening around us and throughout the globe. Why we have district editions, why we have national newspapers, and also the where we have citizen journalism, where we have community newspapers too. So because as we want to know what is happening in the community, where there was a need for the local community newspapers, community radio stations were established, so that they will provide the right kind of information which is needed for those communities. So here, journalism is a larger way. It is contributing, it is for the society's well-being, and it promotes development. It also satisfies our need of coming to know about the various issues which are happening throughout the globe. And is just now we have discussed, journalist is a person who reports on the current events and the latest news. Then so as if anything happens, or as news and polls or etc. that is gathered by the people called journalists, and they gather the information and they transmit the information using various communication channels, like it can be a newspaper, radio or television, etc. With the help of that, they disseminate the information for us. And here, journalist would not be presenting his own views, but journalist is the one who has to provide the news in a fair, balanced way for the public. So here, the journalist, when he reports the news, also his own attitudes, his own prejudices, etc., should not be reflected. But a journalist will only cover the news in an objective, fair, and balanced way. How fairness and objectivity is maintained. When you provide all sides of the particular issue, you are balancing the news, and viewers or the readers will come to know about that particular issue which is discussed from all sides. For example, if a crime happens, the journalist has to look after the police version, the victim's version, and the eyewitnesses. And based on how the incident happens, that he has to gather that information, and including all those parties to be heard in the particular story. Either way, if you present the police version, the viewers will or the readers will not get the other person's point of view. So balance must be maintained, and fairness is can be maintained when you include all the parties who are involved in that particular story. You have to give them a chance to be heard in that news story. So the scope of journalism is very huge, and journalism profession has become as an integral part of our own lives. Like without the journalism, like television, radio, or the newspapers, we can't even imagine our life. Okay, and as long as people have the skills, reporting skills, writing skills, etc., people can reach anywhere in this globe. So media institutions where you can get a chance to work for the public, like if you work for any other companies, etc., you might get your salary, you are maybe working. But if you enter into this profession called journalism, you can disseminate and you can do good for the society. If you enter into this profession, you can serve with your information. It can affect the public life also. In Indian context, if you see the journalism, it is also part of your syllabus. Democracy, as in India, ours is a democratic country where we elect the public representatives, and here, as we have discussed just now, people have the right to freedom of speech and expression. This also includes the right to know what is happening. And here, the journalism profession will keep us informed about what is happening throughout the globe. It includes the current events, the news which is unfolding, the information which could affect the public life. And it also shapes the public opinion regarding various issues. For example, if you see like practice of sati, or maybe going for family planning, wearing a mask, all this is something where we have changed our perceptions regarding the issues. So how wearing a mask could maybe save our family or our own life. Based on that, how we come to know about this information only through the media institutions, or with the personal contacts with other individuals. They might have got that information only because of the media institutions might have provided. So if you want to disseminate any information, You can't disseminate to the larger audience. But if you choose the media profession to disseminate information, it will reach the audience throughout the globe. So all of them would consume your content if you are choosing these media channels as a profession. And freedom of the press under Article 19 of the Constitution, where it guarantees every citizen of this country the freedom of speech and expression. It also includes the freedom of the press. The media institutions also do have freedom of this press, but exclusively under Article 19 2 of this Indian Constitution. Again, reasonable restrictions are laid down on the freedom of speech and expression. Abide by that, the media can exclusively having freedom of the press, and they can criticize the government, they can criticize the public, the politicians or those people who are in power, and also they can provide the information which is needed for the public. So media institutions also do have the responsibility. They are accountable to the public, and they have to fulfill the various needs of the public, like information needs, educational needs, or entertainment needs. All those needs are going to be satisfied by this profession called journalism. And secularism, like secular India is a secular country where all the religions we consider as equal, and we also have the right to religion as a fundamental right. We can preach a religion, we can maybe enter into a place, worship of place, and we can practice a religion. We can also profess, we can also may disseminate regarding our religion, but we can't promote through various means of communication. We can't force the other individuals to adapt our religions, as each individual in this country have the freedom of uh, religion. So promoting communal harmony or communal peace in the society is also a major responsibility which is there on the media institutions. And here, we have communal violence bill still that is pending. It is not yet passed by the parliament. We'll see how it is going to affect. But anywhere when any instances of this communal violence happens, media has a special responsibility. It should not provide sensation. It should not sensationalize the news. It should not provide alarming headlines to the news regarding the communal violence, etc. Before the news is going to be presented, it has to restrain themselves. They have to verify the facts before they publish the information regarding the communal disputes, as it would affect the public. So again, we have PCI, Press Council of India, that has listed various codes to cover the communal violence incidents, and we have NBA News Broadcasters Associations that is looking after the current affairs and media institutions, where abide by those guidelines, the communal violence instances has to be covered. And Doordarshan and All India Radio, they have their own code of ethics they follow while covering the news. And development, media also has it is playing a major role in promoting development in the country, eradication of evils, modernizing the society from traditional to this. And here we also have development journalism, where it is more concerned with promotion of advancement of socio-economic, political, and cultural aspects of the society. And development reporting exclusively is reporting about the development programs and policies that is going to change the society in a development, that is going to change or promote development in the society. So whatever may be the information, the media institutions would try to provide that information for the public, and that would may help them in promoting their own socio-economic political development. And if you see, in the previous slides, we must have said that media has uh, acting as an agent of social change. So it forms the public opinion on various issues. It molds the people's sentiments. It also uh, acts as a agent of social change. It changes the perceptions of people regarding various issues, and it also forms the public opinion on various issues. So in that way, media also helps in promoting development in the country. Press is seen as a fourth estate, as an other pillar of the democracy. We have the three other pillars: judiciary, administrative, and executive. Along with that, press is considered as the fourth estate. It is making all these three pillars of the democracy accountable, and in our democratic country, as we have freedom of speech and expression as a fundamental right under Article 19(1) of the Indian Constitution. Again, the censorship over the media is not exclusively there in our country, as India is a democratic country. Uh, Media institutions have the freedom of press, and the press is acting as the watchdog of the society, looking after all those other pillars of the democracy: executive, judiciary, and administrative function properly, which would discharge their functions properly for the benefit of the public. So this is regarding your what is journalism, scope of journalism, and the functions of journalism that you have under Unit 8. Then we'll go on. Then we'll see what are the types of journalism you have under Unit 10. Types of journalism is there. Uh, when you see the media, based on what kind of media you are using as a platform, which would be disseminating the information for the public, we have print journalism, broadcast journalism, cyber journalism, investigative journalism, photojournalism, global media journalism, and yellow journalism. Then you have subject specific. What kind of content that disseminates by the journalism profession? You have development journalism, environmental journalism, civic journalism, lifestyle journalism, business, sports, and also health journalism. So journalism, just in the previous classes also we have seen, it collects the information and presents the information for the public. Then it acts as a watchdog of the society. When we watch a television news, when we read a newspaper, etc., or when you read the news items which are presented through the internet, etc., we are consuming the content from the journalism. So journalism is nothing but collection and presentation of information for the benefit of the public, and the people who present the information, collect the information, disseminates and transmit the information, all of them are part of your journalists. And journalism would have a lot of impact on our lives, and it is also uh, shapes the perceptions of us on various issues which the media presents. And here, news is in journalism is something that is straightforward. You can't add any kind of other, what you call this, masala kind of thing. We can't sensationalize, but news has to be presented in the way it has to be presented. And the journalism profession is not only restricted to politics, crime, and social news, but it is a profession where it reflects everything which can affect the public life, or which would have some kind of impact on the other. It includes the feature articles, it includes the human interest stories, it includes the soft news, it includes the hard news, everything. it provides for the public. And news would have a value called timeliness, and news story is presented generally in a inverted pyramid style. So where the most important information is presented, the 5 Ws and 1 H, in the first paragraph of the inverted style pyramid kind of news story. The next, when you go on, the other important information at last, least important information is provided for the public. So why a news write-up is provided in the inverted pyramid style? So that it would help. For example, if you are covering a news item for a banner headline, for example, front page, and during the 12 o'clock, etc., if a bomb blast happens in the city, so you have to accommodate that story in the first page. As it is a breaking news, it has a component called news value, and it is the most important news. So if you want to accommodate that story, you can't go here and there, but straight away, the bottom of the story you can cut in the front page in one of the stories which you have accommodated in the page, a news page, and later the news story can be accommodated in the page. So because of that, the news is written in the inverted pyramid style. Okay, again, but when it comes to the feature articles, like it is a soft news stories where you can leisurely present the information for the readers. Often these feature stories are very lengthy, but it would have entertainment value in it. Along with providing information, the feature articles also provides entertainment for the public, and they are written more creatively. But news is written in an inverted pyramid style in a straightforward manner, but feature articles are written in more creative way. Types of journalism. When it comes to the media specific, first one you have is print journalism. In the last class also we have discussed about what constitutes the print. The print journalism includes the newspapers and magazines. These print journalists exclusively report for the newspapers and magazines. They may be full-time reporters and also freelance reporters. For when it comes to the covering of the news for the newspapers, freelance reporters are paid based on the number of words which are printed in the news story, and if it is a broadcast media, based on the number of seconds and a news story is carried in the broadcast media, based on that they will be paid. And here, along with the print journalist, generally a photojournalist also will be to the spot to cover the event or a beat, and sometimes a journalist himself acts as the photographer. He also clicks the picture for for their own newspaper. So here, based on the periodicity, we may have weekly newspapers, monthlies, evening newspapers, tabloid newspapers. Again, we may have mainstream newspapers, etc. So here, again, the newspapers might cover various issues, like just now we have discussed the leisurely read stories of news, and we can also include the hard news. And here all the news which you present for the public through the newspapers, that is covered in the inverted pyramid style. And hard news is what we consider as the most important news of the day, that we cannot hold. It has to be disseminated for the readers or the viewers, etc. And soft news, we can exclusively print the news later on, because the soft news might not have much timeliness. And soft news includes all those feature articles, human interest articles, uh, and news articles on current events which are unfolding, etc. That we can hold and we can print later on. But hard news has to go, it has to be published on a day-to-day basis. You can't hold the stories. So here, again, when it comes to the magazines, based on what kind of information they cover, we have different magazines like women's magazines, children's magazines, film magazines, sports magazines, general interest magazines. General interest magazines would cover all kinds of issues in their magazines. It can be including soft, all those feature articles, soft news kind of information they can provide. And news magazines would provide exclusively the news updates, and news articles, etc. But and you might also have specialized magazines like fashion magazines, business magazines, uh, magazines which are meant for the children, meant for women, etc. So based on what you provide, again, the magazines can be categorized like this. When it comes to the broadcast journalism, it includes the news, the television, and also the radio mediums, which would disseminate the information for the public. Any important news occurs, most of the time the television stations would cover the news in live. So the same way, the same narration part or the news is read in the radio stations, anything happens. So how it is possible, the live and other information covering is, with the help of the satellite, we would be able to receive the communication instantly from the television stations. Either way, we, with the help of the DTH connections, direct to home connections. So here in broadcasting, generally, one way we have to uplink the programs from the concerned television stations or a radio stations to the satellite, and from there the downlinking happens. So we might have the MSOs, multi-system operators. They would downlink the programs from the satellite, and through the cable TV networks, they would provide for the audience. Either way, with the help of the direct DTH services, direct to home services, the with the help of this set box and dish antenna, the dish antenna could receive the signals from the satellite directly, and we are able to see the content which is presented by the television. The same way it happens with the radio stations. The programs are uplinked to the satellite, and from there, the you will have the receivers, the transmitters, and from there, the content would be going to be received with the help of your radio sets. So here, when it comes to the reporting part of broadcasting, when you see the reporting for the newspapers, like news is written in the inverted pyramid style of writing, but when you are writing for the broadcast media, for example, the writing part will be different. For example, if it is a television news report, first you will have the anchor's lead, where the anchor would read the story or introduce the story for the audience. Later on, you will have the bites or piece to cameras, which are bites by the people. Like if an incident happens, the lead will tell you the story where the news has happened or event has happened. Then the bite would explain you the maybe the eyewitnesses version regarding the particular incident, and you will also have the visuals which are playing along with that. You will also get the narration. So here, after that, maybe the P2C is delivered by the reporter, and here the reporter will summarize the story regarding the incident which has happened he is covering. So in that way, the news is packaged for the broadcast media. And how many number of bytes you will have in a particular story, it depends on what you are covering, the importance of the story, where the news is happening, how it affects the public life. So either way, if you don't have any visuals, if it is a breaking news, the anchor will give you the breaking news. She will read out the news for the audience. If they have exclusive visuals, they will repeatedly playing on those visuals on the screen. If it is a radio station, as the radio is a medium of voice, everything would be conveyed in the form of sounds. The news presenter for the radio station will read out the news, and however the news folds, etc. She deliver the voice. Along with that, the background music and sound effects will be added, and that will be presented for the public. If a radio reporter, if somebody is there in the spot, the radio reporter will connect to the particular person, and the news is being broadcast from the station in live. So any major events which happens generally, the news would be covered instantly broadcast media channels in the form of live. Okay, I think we have to conclude now. After this broadcast media, we will conclude for today. Maybe we'll see the next classes. So how NLE is a non-linear editing process. Generally, if it is a television station, just now I said how a news items are reported. So when you are reporting for the broadcast media or like a television and news, television and radio, you should have to keep in mind the time which is given for a particular story, and based on that you have to write. Most of the time, if it is a radio and television, it looks the news has to be presented in a conversational style of writing that you have to adapt for writing the news story. And if it is a television, if it is a live transmission with the help of outdoor broadcast vans or DSNG van, a digital satellite news gathering, etc. With the help of these two, we would cover the news in live. And radio also will be, for the radio also, the news is going to be covered in live if an unusual thing happens or conflict happens, like the hard news, like crime, disasters, any incident happens, that will be covered in live. And here in a radio journalism, news has to be the same way, has to be provided for the newspapers, the same way it is presented for the audience or the listeners in a accurate, balanced manner. The news has to be presented. And here, the same way the reporters were working for the radio also may read out the story lead by the radio news anchor, then the live transmission happens, and the respondents or a person who is deployed on the field would cover the incident in live. From there, the audio would be uplinked to the satellite, and from there you will receive the as the audience, or it should come to the radio station, and from there that can be transmitted. So here in television journalism, as we have the both audio and visuals, when there is a necessary, if it is maybe like live story, it can be the handled between the news anchor and the television reporter who is there on the particular spot. The visuals will be screened from the scene, and depending on the requirement, the camera persons will pan the camera. Panning is nothing but the camera movement, horizontal movement of the camera from left to the right, etc. So to show the public who are involved, or to show the victims, or the where the incident has happened, to include all those visuals, etc. The panning can happen. It would be covered by the television camera person, along with the television news reporter. The news is going to be covered. So here sometimes if it is live, there is no script which would be there to read out. Okay. Yes. Okay, done. Okay. So we will conclude here only. We'll see next class when we have, maybe more probably we'll have on Saturday again. I don't know what is the schedule of your ground classes. Okay. If you have any doubts, please send me your messages. I will clarify your doubts. I'm sending my number here. Okay, thank you. I'm leaving the session.